Lastly, give or take for whatever reason, black people historically, and this is measured in terms of polling that has been done by the Pew Foundation, if you want to look into this. This is measured in terms of polling that was done by the PRI, which is a Christian polling organization. Black people tend to be more religious and more spiritual, more churchy, running everything through the filter of faith, and tend to gravitate toward people, leaders who see things through that same lens. We know that Ronald Reagan was not particularly religious and had a history of just simply not going to church. Donald Trump asked whether or not there was anything that he needed to seek forgiveness for. His response was, no. He's a pretty good guy. There's no reason for him to seek forgiveness for anything. Donald Trump doesn't have any literacy or familiarity with spiritual matters, especially not Christian matters. When he was speaking about the Bible and a particular book in the Bible that was addressed to the people who lived in Corinth, he referred to the book as 2 Corinthians. Now we know that there's no such book as 2 Corinthians. There's 2 Corinthians. And that may seem petty, but it's not, because there's a litany of reasons why black people didn't support Ronald Reagan. And my point is that those same reasons still apply on steroids to Donald Trump. Here's the question I have for my black brothers and sisters that may be leaning in the direction of supporting Donald Trump. It's your right. I'm not telling you what to do, who to vote for or who not to vote for, but if you are planning to vote for Donald Trump, how do you square your support for this man with his history? And not just his history, and as it relates to his treatment and his disdain for our community, who referred to our communities as ghettos, all of the places where black people live. He summed it up and grouped it up and said we are living in ghettos, who said that black people identify with him because he is a criminal, and it implied that most black people are criminals. If you plan to support Donald Trump, that's your right, but how do you square that? How do you justify that? How do you explain that to the ancestors? We don't have to go all the way back to Africa. Let's talk about Mom and them, Aunt Lula Mae and them, the ones who picked cotton, the ones who cropped tobacco, the ones who were the maids and the house servants and the janitors, because that's the only opportunity that was extended to them, the ones who could have been scientists, who could have been doctors and engineers if segregation wasn't in place. How can you square your support for this man who, if things went his way, would take us back to those days? It's your choice. But I'm trying to tell you and trying to say to you is that this man is not for us. And the us that I'm speaking about is obviously people of color, black people, brown people, but it's any people who love justice, who actually wants to see this country continue as a free democracy. How? Tell me how. That's the question.